All right, and there we go. All right, welcome everyone. Thanks for joining us. We're excited to have you for this career event. We're looking forward to finding out more about data science careers in the public sector. And so we're excited to have Mary Catherine Decato with us. She's a career coach with the Center for Career Development, now known as the Center for Career Readiness and Life Skills. So we're excited to hear what she has for us today. And then we'll take some questions at the end. If you are worried that you'll forget questions as we go through this presentation, please feel free to also pop them in the chat, and then we can get to those at the end of the presentation. Mary, off to you.
All right, thank you so much, Alyssa, and thanks everyone for being here this evening. I'm going to just go ahead and share my screen here. Okay, here we go. Give me just a second to get myself settled. So hopefully you can see that just fine. Yes, so I'm from the Center for Career Readiness and Life Skills. I am a career coach, so I meet with students one-on-one, and I also am our office's liaison to the College of Liberal Arts and Sciences, and I'm excited to be here this evening. First thing I'm going to ask you to do, if you are here on the call, just scan the QR code with your phone. It's going to ask you for your UConn email address. And that's just so we can track attendance and have you check in. So I'll just leave that up for a moment. Okay. Let's go along. Here we go. Hopefully that worked for you. Okay, so if you are here, you've probably considered working in data science in some capacity, particularly in the public sector. So today we're going to start by looking at some examples of employers and occupations to give you an idea of the scope of your options. And we'll build in some time to reflect on the skills that you're developing both in and outside of your classes that can transfer into many of these career paths. Next, we'll discuss some career exploration resources and strategies, focusing on some specific ways to uncover what your interests, values, and strengths are to help you make informed career decisions. We'll also touch on some strategies you can employ to pursue internship, job, or grad school opportunities, depending on what the next step is for you. And I'll build in some time at the end, as Alyssa mentioned, to address questions. So definitely do add those to the chat as they come to mind, or note them down so you can ask at the end of the presentation. Okay, so this first section gives an overview of many different types of employers in this area, as well as some sample job titles. And I have several go-to online resources that I use to research this information. And at the Career Center, we can introduce you to these resources as well and help you effectively research your career options. Also, I wouldn't shy away from using an AI tool such as ChatGPT to get you brainstorming about some career pathways. For example, you might give it a prompt such as, what are some examples of employers and job titles that match my interests in data science and working in the public sector? And you can get some really good information and do further research from there. But let's go in. So there's going to be a few slides here where I show you different industries or areas that you might explore and even sub categories within those things. So say you maybe want to work in federal government agencies of some sort. That could be health and human services. So working for an organization like the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention or the Food and Drug Administration. Some example job titles, if you were to go this route, include biostatistician, public health data scientist, epidemiologist. Those are just a few examples. For environmental and science agencies, that might include something like the Environmental Protection Agency. And you can see, again, some sample job titles that if you were to go this route. For justice and defense, that could be working for the Department of Justice or the FBI, perhaps working as an intelligence analyst or in cybersecurity. Um, Economic and financial, that would refer to something like the Department of the Treasury, um, focusing more on finances and economics. Other agencies in the federal government realm could include the Census Bureau or Department of Education. And then again, you can see a few other sample job titles. Um, and as I go through these examples, just know that, they're just a few ideas. You might not know what these job titles mean. And that would be where you would do some further research. And I'm going to show you some resources where you can get that information. Okay. Oh, sorry, I skipped way ahead. Back. Okay. State and local government. So local government offices can include city or county offices. You can see on the left side of this slide that there are various types of departments in which you might work or explore. They could include health, transportation, housing, economic development, public transit. And again, on the right, some sample job titles for each of these areas. And as I did some of this research, it was interesting to me because I found a lot of different types of occupations that maybe wouldn't have necessarily come to mind when you think of data science. And I know in speaking with students in career coaching, a lot of times, if they're looking for a job or an internship, they might use a search term like data science or data analyst, and they don't really know other terms to use. So I think it's cool to see just how broad the possibilities are and get an idea of some other job titles and career pathways. Okay, then there's international and intergovernmental organizations. United Nations agencies could be something like UNICEF or the World Health Organization. This is cool because there's some humanitarian work that is drawn in to the data science piece. Development organizations could be something like the World Bank, and humanitarian and advocacy organizations might be something like the Red Cross or Doctors Without Borders. Yeah, so again, some very interesting job titles that emerged when I did some research on these different parts of the public sector. Nonprofit organizations, public policy and research institutes, environmental advocacy groups like the World Wildlife Fund, social justice and community-based organizations. That could be like the United Way or local nonprofits. Again, a whole wide range of professions within these different areas. There's also government contractors and consulting firms. Large firms, if you've heard of Deloitte or Accenture, for instance, you might be working with federal data strategy or defense systems. More specialized firms might focus on environmental data. Oh, I see there's a repeat here of a job title. That's okay. Going forward, educational institutions and research centers as well. You might work for a public university research center focusing on social science data or data visualization. You might explore a policy lab, even focusing on behavioral science data or experimental design. So again, I hope that kind of reassures you that there's so many different options. And with your skills, you really can apply to a lot of different professions across various industries. It's just a matter of knowing what's out there, what appeals to you and is compatible with your interests, and how you can market yourself for those roles. So hopefully you saw some interesting things. let's shift the conversation to talking about your unique skills. So I'll ask you to take some time to think about what skills you have been developing in and even outside of your courses. On the left are some technical and domain specific skills that you may be learning that are highly applicable to the public sector occupations we just covered. During your time at UConn, you're also developing what are called career competencies, which you see on the right. These are more like transferable skills or what some people call soft skills. These 8 career competencies over on the right have been identified by employers in many different industries across the nation as the key skills that they want to see in job candidates. So when you're applying to internships, jobs, or even grad school, you'll want to think about your technical and transferable skills and come up with some examples that showcase your ability to use data to address complex challenges and make informed, impactful decisions. It can sometimes be hard to put your skills into words or even recognize what skills you've been developing. So that's why we encourage you to meet with a career coach who can help you through that process. And then it will be easier for you to demonstrate your qualifications in a cover letter or a personal statement or when you're answering interview questions. We try to prepare you to identify and articulate all of your skills. Okay, this next section here, we're going to go over some specific resources and strategies to help you narrow down your career goals and start developing an action plan. The first thing I want to mention is career coaching. So at our office, we're located in Wilbur Cross on the 2nd floor. You can also arrange a career coaching appointment virtually. So it's really your preference if you want to meet with someone in person or online. But let me talk about some common topics that we speak about with students in career coaching appointments. There's, of course, searching for internships and jobs, preparing for an interview, networking strategies, exploring a major or exploring careers. Those are big ones. We talk about your written documents like your resume, cover letter, personal statement, all of that we can help with. We do also provide support with the graduate school search and application process, which I think a lot of people don't really realize about the Career Center. But those are just a few of the topics that we cover in career coaching. One myth is that, for career exploration, the myth is that you need to have everything figured out before you can come into the Career Center and make use of our services. And that really couldn't be further from the truth. Our team is here to support students at any stage, whether you're well on your way to pursuing a specific career path or you are just getting started and need help determining where to begin. No matter where you are in that career journey, we are here to assist you. So it's never too early or never too late to come visit us. And some things you would want to keep in mind. Questions are very valuable. You do not need to have all the answers or come in with a perfectly crafted plan of any sort. We don't use a preset agenda or talking points when we have our career coaching appointments. Really, you take the lead. You tell us what your questions are, what your concerns are, what you need from us, and we just try to customize our guidance and resources to help you where you are. So I'll just reinforce that career exploration is a process, and we're here to guide you step by step, whether that's finding a starting point or refining your path. And you can come as many times as you want for career coaching and even up to 3 years after you graduate, which is another little known fact, I feel like. Say you graduate still having trouble finding a job or deciding what's right for you, you can still visit us for 3 years after graduation. Okay, I wanted to do an overview of some online resources that you can use to explore careers. And these really are just a few examples of what's available to you. A career coach can demonstrate these to you and show you even more resources where you can gather information about careers that might be interesting to you. Um, let's go ahead and start with self-assessment tools. A key part of the career exploration process is really getting to know yourself. What are your primary interests, skills, goals, and values, and how do these things factor into your career decisions? Self-assessments are a really great tool to better understand yourself and start setting goals. So I'm going to just show you a couple today. So there's QR codes in the corners of most of these slides going forward. Feel free to scan, they'll bring you to the page, but pretty much all of the resources I show you in this presentation are also linked on our website at career.uconn.edu. So Focus 2 is one assessment that offers quizzes you can take about your personality, values, skills, and work interests. And these assessments can help you explore compatible occupations and make informed career decisions. When you complete these assessments, you'll be shown majors and or careers that align with your results. So it's pretty cool because it takes multiple different facets of yourself into account. And they're easy, they're quick to take as well. On Focus 2, you can also view common occupations within different majors and information about each of these careers. They're not exhaustive lists of everything that is possible within the major, but it can give you a good idea of what some of the typical career paths are, especially if you don't know where to begin. And it's a free tool. You can use it anytime. Another self-assessment tool that I really like is called the ONET Interest Profiler. It's a funny little assessment because it asks, I think, around 60 questions, which goes surprisingly fast, but basically you just rate how much you would be interested in doing a certain activity. For instance, it will say writing a screenplay, and then you would just truly just designate an emoji of sorts to say if that is not at all appealing to you, if you're neutral, or if it's like something you'd be really interested in. So you fill out this self-assessment. It's sponsored by the US Department of Labor, and it's grounded in career theory. So it's a very useful tool. It can help you find out what your interests are and how these interests relate to the world of work. When you get your results, you'll get an interest profile. So it'll tell you if you're like realistic or investigative or artistic or social, for example. And then it will suggest careers that match your interests and training. And it's really cool because every career that it shows, you can click on and read a ton of information about what you do in that job, what the salary is, all sorts of things, more information than you ever wanted. Okay, and let's look at a few examples of resources from which you can gather information about career options. One of these that is one of my go-to sites is called Majors to Careers. On this website, you can see data about UConn alumni by major with links to additional career exploration resources. Yes, okay. Each page will provide examples of internship and job titles, employers, and graduate school programs that alumni from that major have pursued. And it can be helpful to see what careers other students in your major have gone on to seek out. Just be aware though that this website will be undergoing some updating. So if you don't see your major or if it seems a little bit outdated, it is a work in progress. But I do think it's super helpful, especially the national resources that are linked at the bottom of each page. I didn't put it on a slide, but there's a website here called What Can I Do with This Major? That I find to be very helpful, kind of breaks a major down into various industries, common career paths within those industries, employers you might work for, and strategies to get your foot in the door. Okay, back to ONET Online, where you can find that interest profiler self-assessment. Rather than focusing on careers within a certain major, like the previous resource I showed you, ONET Online is a database that allows you to search for occupations based on many different criteria. You can, or this uses data from the US Department of Labor, as I mentioned previously. It presents very detailed and comprehensive information about a diverse array of professions. So you can kind of see by this screenshot, you can search by keyword, like if one of the jobs that were on some of the first few slides appealed to you, you're like, oh, what's biostatistician about? You could search by the job title and see what you could find. You can also search by jobs by industry or by skills or interests. It's a really good tool. Okay, similar resource is called Vault. It's a little bit more manageable, I think. It's not quite as overwhelming with all the detail it provides. It's a large database of career information. When you go into this platform and click on the professions tab, you can view featured professions or a list of more than 1,000 different jobs, I think. And then you can sort by education level and industry. When you click on a profession, you'll see information including, typical tasks that you do in that job, what's the salary, what are the job requirements and training needed, what are the employment prospects looking like, and more. Additionally, it also provides a list of professions that are similar to that job. So that allows you to look at a number of different options that are related. You can kind of go down a rabbit hole with Vault, and I have, but it's really nice, and it's something that I wish I had used when I was in college because I've learned about a lot of different professions in my job as a career coach through this site that I never had heard of before, and are interesting to me. So I encourage you to check it out. Again, all of these resources are linked on our website at career.uconn.edu, or you can scan the QR code up here. They're all free and available for you to use anytime. Something that's on our website is career communities. So right on the homepage of our site, you can find this button on the top menu. It's called Career and Affinity Communities. I'm focusing on the career communities today. These are industry-focused groups that assist students in narrowing down their career aspirations into manageable and relevant fields. Each community offers customized content, including featured jobs and internships, insights into the job market in this area, and student and professional organizations that you can get involved with. So if you're just kind of like, there's one for government and nonprofit, and there's business, you can just start exploring to see what's out there and see if this is an area that interests you. All right. Okay, also on our website, on career.uconn.edu, is some data. These are from First Destination Outcomes. So our office distributes what's called the First Destination Survey to graduating seniors each year. And we use that to find out what students are doing after they graduate. So are they employed? Where are they working? Are they pursuing further education? Where are they studying? Are they volunteering, etc.? So you can view the results of these surveys dating back to 2016 when we started collecting the information and see data for all students, or you can focus on specific schools or colleges or specific majors. And here you can see, get an indication for what the starting salary is for students that year, who are the top employers, where have students gone to grad school, etc. Here's an example of what you might see after you put in some search criteria. So you can use this tool to help you understand what students within your major tend to do after graduation, whether that's going to grad school or working within a full-time position. And keep in mind, not everybody fills out the survey, so it's not representative of the entire graduating class, just something to keep in mind. Okay, so in addition to using online resources, you can think about integrating job shadowing and informational interviewing into your career exploration process. Perhaps you've done this, or maybe not yet, but these are great strategies to help you learn what it's really like to work in a certain profession. Job shadowing involves observing a professional in their work environment, whereas in an informational interview, you ask questions about a person's work. So through job shadowing or informational interviewing or a combination of both, you can get a new perspective on career paths by gaining insight directly from industry professionals. I think these strategies are especially good if you are trying to figure out, like, is it worth it for me to go to grad school to get into the job I want? Like, is that really necessary? Is that going to help me or give me an advantage? Speaking with actual professionals who are working in that industry can give you advice about that topic. Or you're like, I feel like I might like working in this profession, but I'm not sure. I've read about it, but I can't quite tell. Like, if you actually go on site and see what it's like, that can sometimes um, push you into a decision, yes or no, if you want to pursue that. One way to find people whom you might shadow or interview is through what's called the alumni search tool on LinkedIn. So if you have a LinkedIn account, that's great. If you don't, that's fine too. It's something that we can help you with at the Career Center. And we can show you this tool as well. But this function allows you to see what students have gone on to do with their degree from UConn. And you can find interesting people to connect with. To get here, you would look up UConn on LinkedIn, go to the home page, and then you would click on the alumni tab here. From there, you can search by keyword such as job title. So that, say you put in, I don't know, I'm trying to remember what some of the job titles were that we covered earlier in the presentation. Maybe like public health data analyst or something. You can search by keyword and see if there are alumni who are working as that profession. But you can also filter by various other criteria, which you can start to see down here. Where they work, meaning which employer do they work for, where they live, what they studied, what their industry is, what their skills are, etc. So it's really cool as a way to you can use it passively by looking at people's profiles and just kind of seeing, what other people did after they graduated and how did they get to where they are now. Or if you find someone or a few people who are really interesting, you could initiate a conversation with them and maybe arrange to do job shadowing or have some questions answered. And again, we help you navigate that process because it can be daunting. Here are some other, I just want to touch briefly on a couple additional career exploration strategies. I encourage you to keep an eye out for career fairs, alumni panels, webinars, employer or graduate school information sessions, networking events, and other like career related events that you can attend. We have these listed on our website on the events calendar, but take advantage of these opportunities. They're great ways for you to learn about various professions, industries, employers, and graduate programs. Um, look at your department's calendar, look at our calendar, look at the Yukon, the Daily Digest, and see what's out there. And you never know who you're going to meet or what information you're going to attain. But going to these events is really valuable. To get a sense of what a career might look and feel like, I would say find ways to experiment and learn whenever possible. So you might do that through an internship or a co-op. Perhaps you've already done one. Volunteering, that's a great way to see what it's like to work in a specific environment. Even pursuing some courses or trainings, perhaps, outside of your normal coursework, could be online, for example. But engaging in any of these opportunities will give you the benefit of diversifying your skill set, and you can at the same time test out an area of interest. Okay. Our last section today is about strategies for internships, jobs, and graduate school. So some of you might be, excuse me, thinking about or actively applying for internships, others for jobs, others for grad school. Let's discuss some strategies to help you reach your goals. And take a sip of water. Okay. It's really important to have an active search strategy that combines researching opportunities and networking. I want to focus on a few specific online resources, as well as how you can build and use your network to find opportunities. Handshake should be one of your go-to platforms to find jobs and internships. If you're not already using it, you should start. It's linked on the homepage of our website, career.yukon.edu, and there's a QR code as well. But here you can search for opportunities based on keywords, like job titles or by employer. You can also filter jobs and internships by location, job type, meaning full-time, part-time, or internship, and other criteria. You can also select to be notified about opportunities that match your preferences. But it's really great. There's like over 30,000 opportunities at a time listed on Handshake. If you see if you see something on Handshake, it means that the recruiter posted it to that platform because they're interested in recruiting from Yukon. So it's a great, first place to check for opportunities. And I would say check it regularly, build it into your routine. LinkedIn is another great place to search for opportunities. Its job search function allows you to search for and apply to internships and jobs posted on the platform. Some key features include a job search filter, saved search and alerts, and an easy apply option. An advantage of LinkedIn is that you can see if there are Yukon alumni working at a company that you want to work for. And then if you connect with these alumni, that's an effective way to get information about the employer, advice for your job or internship search, or even insight into other opportunities. If grad school is on your mind, there are a few search engines which can help you find and compare programs that are compatible with your interests and career goals. These are especially helpful when you are just getting started. These platforms, again, linked on our website, and you can also find on our website a lot of other resources to support your graduate school search and application process, such as guides for requesting a letter of recommendation and how to write a personal statement. But I would check out like petersons.com, usnews.com, princetonreview.com. just to see, what types of grad programs are out there. And there's various filters you can use as well. Okay. All right. So that was a lot. What do you do now? We went over several resources and strategies today that can help you explore careers in a number of different ways. I think that one of the most important things to remember as you start your career journey is that there's no one perfect or correct choice. There's a lot of different options, as you saw at the beginning of the presentation, that can lead to successful and fulfilling careers. And in addition to that, you always have the ability to change your mind and try something new. I would say just focus on getting informed, trying different experiences, and really diversifying your skills so that you can make decisions you feel confident in. Okay, this is our contact information, so you can reach us by phone or email. Going to our website is a great first step to get acquainted with what we do. There's a lot of content on there, so I encourage you to check it out if you haven't already. Again, from our website, you can schedule an appointment if you want to come in for career coaching to get that customized guidance and advice. Also follow us on social media, of course, at UConn Career. But that takes me to the end of this section of the presentation. So here's some time to ask your questions. I'll stop sharing my screen in just a second, and once I figure that out. And also, if you're interested in seeing a demonstration of any of the resources that I mentioned, certainly I can take time to do that now. But let me figure out where I am. Stop sharing. Oh, here we go. Stop. There we go. I did it. All right. So I saw there was
We did.
Oh,
Oh,
go ahead.
sorry. So we did have a question come through in the chat, which is, can all resource links be included in an email?
Certainly. Yep. I can get that all together and I can share the presentation as well.
Perfect.
Yeah, and perhaps that's even the best way to do it. But I'll include the links as well as the QR codes that are in the presentation. And yeah, remember there's unbelievably, that's just a few of the resources that we use. So if you're interested in seeing more, certainly come in and see us. But are there other questions that I can answer at this time, or does anyone have want me to clarify anything that I went over so far?
If you have a question, feel free to either pop it in the chat or unmute your mic as well. Quiet group tonight.
Quiet group, but that's okay.
It's okay. We all understand you're ready for Thanksgiving break. We are too.
We are
We
too,
understand.
yeah.
We get it.
Yeah, how about here? Just a moment here. While we have some time, I'll give you a few minutes to think of any questions that might come to mind. I'll just show you briefly a few things on our website so you can get familiar.
I refer my students to your website all the time. It's just this amazing treasure trove of information.
There's so much there, and like I don't even know everything that's on here. There's just a ton. But here's what the homepage looks like. A great, if you want to schedule a career coaching appointment, you do it right from here. You choose when you want to meet, what modality, whatever works for you. There's some frequently asked questions. Also at the top is a link to Handshake. So you can see those jobs and internship opportunities. One other good place to start on the homepage is just going to the How Do I tab. So if you're thinking about what major you want or you're considering career options, a lot of what I covered in this presentation is under Explore Careers. Some of the self-assessments that I mentioned, career communities, Vault, etc. Yep, there's focus too. So everything is kind of laid out nicely for you, but you can see like if you need help with your resume or you want to network or find ways to gain experience or get an internship, job, or prepare for grad school, you can click on any one of these pages and be greeted with tons of information and helpful resources. Our career communities are here. This is something else that I talked about in the presentation briefly as well. We can see, for this group in particular, the government, public administration, and law career community might be especially interesting. You can see it's just a hub of information with various advice articles, blogs, experiences, which are like learning opportunities, courses, and trainings that you can do to expand your skill set. Feature jobs and internships related to these industries. There's also some data, including the first destination outcomes I talked about. Student and professional organizations that you might want to follow or get involved with, and even some additional guides from that resource vault, which I talked about earlier. But yeah, that's just a few things on our website. Events calendar right on the front. Keep, monitor it for anything that seems interesting to you. But I just wanted to show some of those few things briefly.
Perfect. Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome.
All
Okay, well,
right.
yeah, looks like we don't have any other questions at this time.
All right, so I will go ahead and stop recording. Thank you so much, Mary Catherine. This has been amazing. I'm excited to share this recording with the rest of our students and to share that presentation. I think this has been extremely helpful. So thank you so much.
Very happy to do it. Thank you, Alyssa. Thanks everyone for coming this evening. I hope it was helpful. Don't hesitate to reach out to us, and I certainly will share the resources and hope to see you in the Career Center soon.
All right, perfect. Thank you so much. Happy Thanksgiving, everybody.
Happy Thanksgiving. Bye.